We are here. We are at the end of 25 somehow.
I, well, we're still alive.
Oh, hey, absolutely. And it was as tumultuous a year as it is for the world in general. I mean, I've had worse years personally, so I'm feeling okay about it.
Yeah, on a scale of like 1994 to the pandemic, this one was like at the pandemic end,
Hmm.
but a little less cozy, you know?
Yeah.
I had to wear pants a
I
lot.
if we spent too much time with it, we'd come up with a bunch of reasons why this year sucks. So I say we just move forward.
Okay, challenge. Come up with a reason this year was great. Like, I don't know.
Um,
Sure.
this year was great because, for me personally, my family, my kid found gainful employment in Los Angeles. I saw Oasis, which was great. My daughter's graduated from college in a week. So things are good. How about that?
I like all of that. See?
I
And
like
now
I like all of that too. And
suddenly
my
it's like special.
and I was going to say, and on top of it, this my long simmering band finally got off its ass and got its act together and went on the road. So I played some shows with this new thing that we've been talking about for 6 years and working on for 3 years. And so that was actually a lot of fun. And we're going to do some more next year, and that's all good too.
You've been working on this for 3 years. Because you told me about this ages ago, and you were like, but we can't talk about it. And then all of a sudden
Yeah,
it was like, what
we
changed?
started, well, we just were finally ready to do something. I mean, when you have a band, when you're putting a band together or it starts off as a project and then it's happily found itself to now be a band, because you have three guys from other bands. And so the word band is actually a pretty significant word. You don't throw it around. You say it's a project or we're just working on tunes to see. And so that's what this was. And so when it's me and then Mike Mills from REM and Darius Rucker, because of who we are, if you talk about it, then all of a sudden there's an expectation and a sense of, well, the clock's ticking, let's go. And we just thought we're enjoying this so much, we shouldn't ever mention this until we're actually ready to do something. Because then it's just not, it's not that we wanted to keep it a secret. We just didn't want to have to talk about it because we didn't know what it was going to be. It's like all we were doing was writing songs and recording songs. That was it. And then at some point in the last year, we realized, wait, this is actually really good and we have enough now. What do we want to do? And we came up with this idea of, well, let's go play some shows and make sure that we dig it. And, there's no better way to prove to yourself that you're on the right track than to jump on the track and take a few laps. And so that's what we did. And it was great. We went out for 2 weeks and now we're actually going to, have a full, I wouldn't call it an album because what is an album anymore, but we're going to put a record out next year at some point. At some point in time, a whole bunch of music's going to be available and we're going to go play a lot more shows. So that's pretty awesome.
So you guys have basically gone Facebook official with your relationship.
Yeah, basically, yeah, we're willing to say that this is something we're doing now. Wow, my hair this winter hair is a treat. I just made the mistake of looking at myself and I'm like, what? And it's backwards. I can't tell what's happening. All right, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're making it worse. Whatever it is you're doing is just not helping.
There's no way around it. I am in Jersey City, New Jersey right now, and
Why is somebody in Jersey this week? Every time I turn around, somebody's in Jersey.
I'm playing a gig tonight with Golden Smog, which is Golden Smog is a band that's been around.
Howl Owl Howl already?
What's that? No. Golden Smog I'm the drummer. I'm the 37th guy to be the drummer with Golden Smog in the last 30 years. Golden Smog is Jeff Tweedy, who from Wilco, and a bunch of dudes from Minneapolis, Gary Lewis and Mark Perlman from the Jayhawks, Dan Murphy, who was in Soul Asylum forever, a guy named Craig Johnson, who is in a band from Minneapolis called Run Westy Run, which is a great band. Craig's now plays with the Jayhawks. They've been making records off and on, put out a few albums in the 90s and early aughts, and then they just play a handful of shows every year. It's a side project full of great songwriters. So the songs of Golden Smog are fantastic. It's an embarrassment of riches for me because I've always loved their records. And when I moved to Minneapolis, they were like, "Hey, you could be our drummer now." And I said, "Hey, cool." And And so now we're in Jersey City tonight. We're at the Bowery Ballroom in Manhattan tomorrow. And then Tuesday night we play in Chicago. And that's it. Like just 3 shows.
Wow. So you're in the club now, and it's just like kind of Ramones level tour within 100 miles thing.
Well, I mean, since most of us live in Minneapolis, this is a weekend. This is like the weekend pass shore leave in the Northeast in Chicago. But what I've been doing since I went to Minneapolis, have played a bunch of shows all in Minnesota. That's all it's been. This is the first time we've left the area. So, and if I can learn about 9 songs between now and tonight, everyone will be in a much better mood.
You're gonna be busy.
I just got to remember,
Oh, I think you cut off the sound.
Hang on.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. I was saying every now and again, a song will stop or pause or go to double time. And if somebody just gives me a nod, I'll be okay.
It's the equivalency of like hum a few bars, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just,
Nice. So when
this band is by design a little ragtag. No one's looking for perfection here.
When you're in these projects, dare I call them supergroups, because everybody's got, hit records with other groups. Is it expected that you're going to pop out some hits from your previous bands, or are both bands just their own thing where it's like, you don't necessarily not pretend it didn't happen, but you're not here to acknowledge that?
Golden Smog is the latter. No old band songs. It's just all Golden Smog and covers. That's what they've always done. And they did well enough to where, the people who are coming to hear Golden Smog songs that were all released, years ago. For Howl Owl Howl, we absolutely play songs from our former bands. And on the tour we just did, we went out 2 weeks in clubs and we were playing 10 songs a night that no one's ever heard before, like 10 brand new songs. And if you're going to do that, you are nuts if you don't give people something they already know. Live music is, for everybody that's dying to hear something new, there's 5 people who are like, yeah, that's cool, but can I hear something I already know that I love? And so we were happy to do that. Yeah. People literally still scream Freebird at gigs, in case you're wondering.
I do it ironically, but
well, that's the thing. I think we've gone around we've lapped the field so many times. I can never tell if it's ironic or serious now. You never know.
Now, you being a huge REM fan, do you guys pick the REM songs that you guys do?
Yes. In fact, Darius Rucker and I both are kids of the 80s. High school and college years are the 80s for us. So REM, REM exploded in the 90s, but the people who were there in the 80s, that's when they tattooed themselves into our central nervous system. And so we both share that. Like Darius has said this, I've said this, I am in a band because of REM. Like that's the band that made me go, oh, I have to go do that. And he's very much the same way. So for us, it was like, we don't need to do Crow songs. And Darius said, I don't want to do Hootie songs. Let's just do 10 REM songs. We'll be thrilled with that. And of course, Mike was like, no, we're not going to do that. We can, I think we were doing 2 Crow songs and 2 Hootie songs and 4 REM songs on this run. But that won't be the way it always, I mean, we'll change those up. We were already talking about for the next group of shows, which we don't know when they are yet, but the next time we play, we'll add this, take that out. We'll adjust those songs all the time.
How did it feel? You've got those 10 songs that you're out there testing out. Do they feel like a record?
Oh yeah, it really did. I mean, we had high hopes, but not high expectations. And I would say it blew away any of our expectations and it matched our hopes, if that makes sense. I mean, like if you had said, what do you hope happens? I would have said exactly what did happen, which is the first show was really good. And then every show.
We cut out for a second. Okay. I got high hopes, but not high expectations. And then.
Okay. So the shows exceeded my expectations and matched my highest hopes. So the first night was great. And to the point where we walked off stage laughing, saying we should stop now. Like, let's just quit because that was too good. but honestly, every night was better than the one before through the whole 2 week run. By the time it finished, we were, and we've all played a million gigs, and we're not jaded, but we're old and experienced. And we were all going, wow, this is okay. We got this. We owe it to ourselves and to this to keep this going because it's just fantastic. And the audiences were great every night. They were totally. What was amazing to me, not that I don't know YouTube exists, but I don't realize. I mean, I'm well aware of the internet and all of its various utilities, but by the second night, a handful of people. By the third night, a majority of people were singing the new songs because they'd gone to YouTube and watched the videos from the first night and from the second night. By the third show, every time we'd start a song, you'd see people singing along with a brand new song that they'd never heard live, but they've had 2 days of YouTube videos to watch. And so by the time the thing ended, by the 8th and 9th show, it was just, we'd kick into a song and the roar of the crowd because they're like, oh, I love this song. And we're all looking at each other going, this is nuts, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
it was great.
Did it make it fun again? But like, thanks internet for giving people the music when they, like, it literally doesn't exist anywhere else, right? Outside
That's right.
You guys put it on wax, you haven't released it, and it's only on these bootleg videos.
That's right. And you know, above everything else, it was, you know, I've said this a bunch, but lately, but it's, you know, it's true. Every musician, you know, every guy that you know is in a band or girl that's in a band that's doing their thing, you cross paths with your friends in other bands and you say, man, we got to do something one day. And it just never happens because everyone's so busy. And so to have carved out some time and slowly put this thing together, to finally get together and do it. And again, this conversation started in 2019. Is the first time Darius, me, and Mike said, hey, let's throw something together just to see if there's anything there. I mean, COVID happened. It took a few years to even get started. And then we all live in different cities. So we've just been slowly but surely, you know, 2-3 weekends a year at most, we all meet at a studio and do stuff. To get out and actually do it live, I mean, it's really, you know, we're really just happy and relieved too that it actually was as cool as we had hoped. Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's good and it's valid, but it doesn't make you feel a certain way. And we just felt like giddy the whole time. It was really something. I mean, I'm 10 minutes into saying this, but it's just really true. It was awesome. And it's been, I guess, 3 weeks since we got home, and we're texting every day about, let's do this time. Next time, let's do this. Let's do this. We're trying to figure out when and how and where the record will be out. You know, it's exciting.
It's kind of interesting because it's the polar opposite of how the Black Crowes started with you, right? I mean, you kind of jumped in and it was like, hurry up and get good, hurry up and get on the road, hurry up this album, hurry up that. And this has been a slow burn. Well,
yeah, the Black Crowes. I mean, I moved to Atlanta. I was 21. I bought a drum kit, which was my first ever drum kit. And me and the Robinson brothers started playing. They already had a band called Mr. Crow's Garden. I joined, and I was the first actual like guy who said, okay, I'm here. You know, they had a different rhythm section every 6 months or every 6 weeks. And I was the first person that showed up and said, okay, I'm here. I'm in the band. And they said, yes, like now there was 2 of us. Now there's 3 of us. And over the next couple of years, we found the bass player, we found the guitar player, we put a full band together. But from the day I moved to Atlanta, having never owned a drum kit, to the first album being in stores was 1 week shy of 3 years.
So I guess it was technically the same time period. It just didn't feel as rushed.
I mean, that was 3 years of going from having no idea what we're doing to putting that record out and touring. I tell you what, the last 3 years went a lot faster than those 3 yeyears from 87 to 90. I can assure you that those 3 years back then felt like a decade. And now saying that we started recording this thing 3 years ago, that might as well have been 90 minutes ago.
Dare I ask when you guys know if you're going to put the album out? Because this is what happens, right? As soon as you're like, and we're a band, everybody wants to know when the new music happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we honestly don't know. We're still, I mean, whatever you call I can't call them record companies anymore, but these organizations that help you market and distribute music, whatever they're called, that everybody likes. Anybody that's heard it is like, this is great. What do we do with it? And we're saying, well, that's your job. We don't know. We're not living in the past, but we've certainly been around long enough to where we don't feel. I know we all know it's a very new landscape, but we're also can't be bothered to learn it and figure it out and try to be brilliant about it. It's more like, no, we're just going to get the music out at some point. The people who want it will be able to find it very easily, and we're going to go play a bunch of shows, and it'll just take care of itself. And that's how we, that's what we thought we would think a year ago if you had asked. And now after having done it, that's still very much what we think, which is we're just going to do this our way. I mean, to go play shows right now in a certain world made no sense. So we're fine to put the cart in front of the horse. We don't care. We're not doing it to try to go become, global icons. We're doing this because we really enjoy it and it's fun. And along the way, yeah, if we can, get a new audience and put this thing together and work a lot, that's fantastic. But we're not master strategizing any bit of this.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so much different, right? When you're the band that says we've got an album, as opposed to we're the band and we'd like to make an album. It's just a different it's like football and tennis. It's just a different sport. You know what I mean? It's like, or football and golf, really. It's like, okay, you're in the trenches and you're trying not to get your neck broken. And then one day you look up and you're like, I'm just having a nice leisurely stroll on the back nine. Feels much better. Feels much better here. Yeah. Yeah, the older you get, the more patient you get too, which is a weird thing no one tells you about when you're young. It's like go, 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 go. And then you hit a certain point and you realize like, well, if we press harder, we're going to screw it up. So everybody just chill out and this will find its own path. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you get to hear the new Guns N' Roses songs?
No, I had every intention. I flew from Minneapolis to Newark yesterday, and I was at the airport and I saw that there was a link. And I was like, oh, when I get in, I'll listen to those. And I completely spaced. And then I actually got a good night's sleep. I got in early and I didn't have a dog or a cat to wake me up. So I slept. Really, really nice. And then I got up today. And honestly, until you just mentioned it, I totally forgot. How are they?
Well, there's one called Nothing, which is aptly named. And then there's
okay.
And there's one called Atlas, which I actually like. And I wish it could have been like the lead single on Chinese Democracy, because I feel like everything on Chinese Democracy was just so unremarkable. And this song isn't like, oh, fantastic, it's Guns N' Roses, they're back, but it's just good.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not classic GNR. It's good. It's not like actively irritating me like so much from that thing.
I mean, for when you look at what their history is, and I mean, it's 10 years, right, that they've been back together for the most part, but that followed 20 years of complete cacophony and not being together. If I haven't heard the song and I'm not making excuses or excusing anything, but if they can get songs together where at least they're all on the same page, like where it sounds like you said, it's just a good song. That's a trickier thing to pull off than most people might think. Because all those years you're not working, all those years Slash and Axl are in different rooms. They're not thinking of each other. They're doing things exactly how they want them done. And to come back around and find common ground, it's like Led Zeppelin always said, like Robert, like, why would we get back together now as these old men? We would never give an inch in any direction, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't have to, So I mean, if it sounds good, if it's like if they put out a new song and you're like, that's pretty good. I mean, I think that's impressive.
I do have to wonder though, did any of them get in a room for these songs to be put out, or is this all stuff that Axl did, during his Chinese Democracy sessions? Because by all accounts, he had musicians in constantly working on this epic album that were not Slash or Duff or any of the Guns N' Roses drummers until and I'm kind of, here's my conspiracy hat, which I love to put on, is that I think Axl is so needing to control all of this that he only wants to release Guns N' Roses songs that he owns all the publishing on, and everyone who was reportedly part of the Chinese Democracy Sessions like was a session player and doesn't have any rights to anything that they did on the music.
Right.
So I think that Axl all this time has been just kind of eking out his Chinese Democracy Sessions as Guns N' Roses songs because he owns the name Guns N' Roses and he owns all the music from the sessions. And I think the other guys are like, whatever, send a check or don't.
Yeah. I didn't know I don't know any of the backstory at all. I mean, I this is all news to me. So, not probably the greatest way to go about of plotting a future. But if they all signed off on it, I mean, who knows?
I don't know for sure that that's true.
Yeah.
I know that they have admitted that a lot of the songs that they've been releasing were from the Chinese Democracy Sessions. I don't know if that's true for these two songs, but it does seem to follow that pattern of, oh, these are from the Chinese Democracy Sessions. Maybe Slash played on them.
Right.
Was still there for a little bit of it, but
I'll forever, if your name isn't Prince, then you probably need help. I mean, the people who are able to do it all themselves are very few and far between. I mean, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson and the Beatles had George Martin, you know what I mean? And there's a reason for those things. And I think that, a group dynamic, if you're in a band with Slash, why in the world would you not be going, hey, got any new ideas? It's like, got any riffs, got a thought? And on the other side, if you're Slash, if you're in a band with Axl, hey man, got a lyric, got to turn a phrase, got a melody, got to not get blah, 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 whatever. Anything they do, if they actually do it together, and this is just the history of rock bands, the more they're on the same page, they're going to go farther. It's like, farther and slower always beats sprinting by yourself, always, especially where bands are concerned. I've been thinking a lot about, I always think about this. We've talked about it, but like yesterday was the anniversary of Led Zeppelin announcing they were going to disband, right? John Bonham died in September of '80. And on December 4th, less than 2 months after his death, less than 3 months after his death, they put out this announcement, just said, the chemistry we felt, the thing we created, we cannot continue as we once were. That was it, and could Led Zeppelin have continued with a different drummer? Of course, there's great drummers in the world. There are plenty that could have gone in there and done a really good John Bonham impersonation, or at least been inspired by him. They could have done anything they wanted, but they couldn't get past the idea of, I don't think it was being in a band without John Bonham that freaked him out. I think it was day one of being in a band without John Bonham that freaked him out. How do we even start with a different guy sitting at that drum kit? That's just too insurmountable. And they're one of the few bands that truly recognized it for what it was. And I think that's why their legacy is what it is. I mean, imagine them in the 80s with a different drummer. Mm-hmm. If they hadn't been able to fully get back on the same page, because they were already a little splintered at the time of Bonham's death. They weren't in their best shape. And then you look right at The Who is the perfect example. They replaced Keith Moon, got on the road within a year, and the Who have played plenty great shows since, but and then Entwistle goes, and by that point, and I'm not knocking them for that at all. No. I mean, you guys are The Who. Do what you want. You have every right to do it. But the legacy of The Who and the legacy of Led Zeppelin are two entirely different things. The only legacy that you can compare Led Zeppelin's to is the Beatles. Same four guys, finite period of time. It's over and it's done. And so every generation subsequently that discovers them, you don't have to explain, okay, well, these records from the 90s kind of suck, but in the 70s, they were great. It's just this perfect story. There's a beginning and there's a middle and there's an end. And it's just so helpful in terms of legacy creation. And that's not why that had nothing to do with why they went on without Bonham. It was very genuine. We can't do this. But I'm just saying it's interesting. And again, I say that without begrudging The Who or any band who continues. It doesn't matter. If you can play money, if you can play music and make money in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you're crazy not to do it. Really.
Yeah.
Because by that time, what the hell else are you going to do? Go work at Starbucks? I don't think so. So again, I mean, there's none of that. But it's just there's something about chemistry And all this to say, I'm going back to Guns N' Roses. They've had a revolving door of guys forever. Now they got at least the big three back in there. And I've not seen this lineup. I haven't seen Guns N' Roses in the last 10 years, not once. They're coming to Minneapolis or nearby next summer, and I'm planning to go. I'm like, okay, finally, I'm going to go check this out. If it's never going to be what it once was, but if the three of those guys still have a vibe, if it's still a vibe if they still have a vibe when no one else is around, then there's a future there with new music. I guess it just remains to be seen if that's possible.
For me personally, I saw them when they first got back together. I think the first show was in Vegas, so I flew out, and I ended up accidentally getting like really amazing seats. I just was like one single person buying a ticket last minute, and I got like right outside of the stage. And then right next to me ended up being Mike Dirt from Green Day, and I was like, how did I end up sitting next to you? I bought this ticket like 2 days ago. It just got released. He's like, must have been the artist holds must have gotten, and I just got lucky.
Yeah.
And so I was right there, and it was amazing. And it wasn't like old Guns N' Roses chemistry, but it was still like enough of a new Guns N' Roses chemistry that it was really great. I had a wonderful time. I was totally excited for every single thing that they did. I wasn't mad at all. Yeah. And then I saw them at Back to the Beginning, July, where it was a whole different vibe. It was like the show was for Ozzy, but Guns N' Roses was there. I don't know how much tribute to Ozzy Axl had in him, because Ozzy said this was the first time they'd ever actually met in person. But I'm sure that, Slash and Duff, who crossed paths with Ozzy a million times over the years, were like, we're doing this, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they sounded terrible. Right. I mean, Axl was just at the bottom of the worst I've ever seen him vocally. And everybody else kind of was like, you can almost see Slash and Duff were like kids embarrassed that dad was still on hanging out. I was like, couldn't you just drop us off at the corner? Just looking away. Just everybody's looking away and just being like, okay, shit, it's only 3 songs or whatever. And I was just really disappointed in the entire Guns N' Roses performance at that show.
Wow. Well, okay. So maybe I'm not going to go see him in August.
I mean, but that said, right? It's like hit or miss, Sometimes you get a great Guns N' Roses show, and sometimes you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
This is my show. and it's like, They played Oracle Park, and they were great, but by many, many accounts on that tour that was like probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, pre-pandemic, there were a lot of really awful shows, but the San Francisco show was great.
Well, I mean, you know what? I think truth is, I'll probably go see anybody I can this year. The forecast for the touring industry is not so bullish right now. Just generally speaking, and the people you talk to, different promoters and various these and thems, it's no one's going into 26 thinking it's just going to be a green flag year for tours. So we'll see. Very, very heady times we're currently surviving through.
Do you think we're in kind of like a bubble that's about to burst when it comes to post-pandemic touring? Because the concert industry was doing really well when the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I just think, well, I mean, it's when 8 ounces of blueberries cost $12, concert tickets are hard to find. I mean, it's that simple. The cost of everything is flying. My last trip this week to the grocery store, not for the first time, but for the most extraordinary time, was I just kept looking at everything I would pick up. Stuff I never look at the price of, a half pound of sliced turkey. And I'm like, wait, $12. I mean, everything is going up. Yeah. It's crazy. Totally insane. And, dog food and, beer and whatever, anything we're buying. And this is across everybody's going through the same thing, like sticker shock. So, until we get away, until something changes, until our economy gets wrestled away from a lunatic and gets some stability underneath it, sadly, concerts are one of the things that's the first to go from people's budgets. It's like, I'll pay $150 to see Paul McCartney. Doesn't take long before you say, I'm not paying $150 to see anything, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's why they're putting those shows on sale now. I mean,
Yeah.
we're giving tickets. Shows are going on sale for stuff that's happening literally in September.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's
No, it's just one of those things. I mean, and we'll get through it because we get through it every time. Hell, we got through the pandemic, and as far as I know, we did. And there's downturns and there's upturns. I mean, this one seems to be especially galling just because you can look at the administration and go, you did this, these tariffs. It's basic. The economy was going in one direction, and then at the beginning of the year, it completely went into a different direction. So that's economic, gripes are usually years in the making. This one's is pretty special because it happened overnight. So there's that, but it'll come back around eventually because everything does come back around eventually.
Well, and I think I don't think a lot of people are drawing the straight line between international artists and the touring industry in the U.S.
Yeah,
bands were already like, oh wait, visa costs have doubled. Like,
yeah.
when the band comes over from another country, they're already stuck with like a huge amount of shipping costs. They're stuck with the visa costs for them and all their crew.
Yeah, it's nuts. And if you're gonna, and I'll just say this: for any touring band, anytime you are traveling internationally, and you have to look at the budget and say, well, you know what, it's cheaper to just rent backline over there. The audience is not getting the same show. I don't care. A guitar is not a guitar. You know what I mean? An amp is not an amp. When bands aren't allowed to bring their own stuff, that just one thing changes the specter of an entire tour of every show. And then you add to it all the other things you have to do to cut costs to make it feasible to tour in the States for an international band. The biggest concern now is it is 1,000% we've gotten into the haves and the have-nots. And when I was a kid, when you were a kid, there was such a healthy middle class of touring artists. There were so many bands that were with $15 tickets making money on the road, playing theaters.
Those are the affordable tickets.
Yeah, playing. I mean, when the Black Crowes first started, we were headlining on our second album in theaters all around the country, well, all around the world, and those tickets were like $18. And we always had great opening acts, and you'd see a band at that time that was as cool a rock band as there was. You'd see a great new band opening or a cool band, $16, $18, $20 max. You know what I mean? Like that was great. And we made a fine living doing that because you could do that. We were upper middle class, but we were never an arena band. We never did the multiple arenas. We would do the odd arena here and there, but we never did an arena tour even. It was always theaters, and which we were very happy with. We were, hell, man, that's bigger than anything I ever thought would be possible. The idea that world is come and gone. It's because if you go see a band in a theater now, that's an $80 ticket. That's $100 ticket. And that doesn't have arena production. It's a theater show. It's just a big club, and they may have some screens and they might have a couple of firecrackers, but people justify the exorbitant stadium costs because look at the show. And I get that. But there, you can't, theater gigs are not supposed to be $100 events. It's just, it's just all what it is, but it's a shame because, like I said, there used to be such a thriving middle class of touring, groups, touring artists that were out there making a great living, playing great shows, making great music. And now it's like you are either Coldplay or you are not.
And we're losing festivals too.
Yeah.
I think festivals are going to be the first to implode. Like Bonnaroo's announced, Coachella's still happening, even though it's going to be a cluster. But they're so bloated at this point that
it's got too many, too many, and too big. They're too big to succeed as opposed to too big to fail. You know what I mean? It's like we went over the top with the festival scene, and it's like with everything, you've just got pulling back at some point because you lose the option of just scaling back. It's go big or go home. And now, a lot of them are going home.
I mean, as a concert fan, if you're a festival goer, you are either rich or you are paying the equivalent of a car payment a month to afford your festival tickets.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yikes. Oh, before we go, I did want to talk about Aerosmith.
Okay.
Because Aerosmith Youngblood EP came out, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it hit Aerosmith literally got their first #1 album in Europe, in England, in the UK for the first time.
Yeah, they're the first band to have a top 10 single on the charts in this is 6 straight decades.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like them and Cher and I don't know, like 3 other bands or something.
Well, there's only 2 bands. It's them and the Stones.
Oh, is it?
And
okay.
the other ones were I just saw maybe I'm completely spacing. Did Elton John it's like Cher and Paul Simon. I mean, it's not, it's just artists. Like, wait, really? So, I guarantee you no one saw that coming, especially the guys at Aerosmith.
And they've got the alternate version with Steve Martin, and now there's an alternate version with Lainey Wilson of different songs on the EP. And it's like, they're bigger than ever. They just opened up to a whole new generation of potential concert goers. And
for what, the 4th time? So, or 5th time. So you have the 70s, you got the rockers, and then you've got the hybrid rock rap. Rick Rubin and Run DMC invented that. And then you have the comeback records, which is that, generation younger than me, the 90s, 80s and 90s kids who they're this brand new thing. And then the American Idol, that brought tons of new people to this table. And then, I mean, man, credit Steven Tyler for that. With that much, he's like, he sees a door open, that dude runs through it.
So here's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. If you notice, Brad Whitford is nowhere to be found, right? Tom Hamilton put him on a milk carton.
Yep.
Matt Sorum played drums on the EP.
Okay.
So this whole thing has just really been Joe Perry, Steven Tyler, and Youngblood.
Uh-huh. Well, you don't need it. It's not like you need the unmistakable chemistry of the Aerosmith lineup for this music, if I could be so bold. Okay, it's not what this is. I think Tom and Brad are perfectly fine not being a part of stuff like this. I mean, I had Brad on my show during the pandemic. He and I talked for a couple hours. I mean, I would have loved to have put the entire interview up somewhere. I was not allowed to do that, and Brad has never pulled punches about, look, if it was up to me, we would just plug in and rock and we'd go play shows in clubs and be a rock band. That's all he ever wanted. All of the extraneous stuff was just like, okay, sure. I mean, great. And it doesn't look a gift horse in the mouth, but at the end of the day, and especially after everything they've been through, past 50 years on, he just wants to go play gigs and be a rock band. He doesn't care about all the Youngblood. I'm not speaking on behalf of Brad Whitford, but I feel pretty confident in saying he could give a rat's ass. It's just he's a great musician. He's a really, really great guitarist, and he just wants to go play guitar and enjoy playing live. That's enough. Steven and Joe have very different views on all that stuff. Tom Hamilton's got his new band.
Right. Close Enemies.
Thank you. And I'm sure he's thrilled to just go out and play music with some dudes that they're just having fun. There's no pressure to be Aerosmith, whatever that is, I think those guys have both threaded the needle very nicely, because they get up in the day and they don't have anybody in their face reminding them to be amazing today and go be Joe fucking Perry. You're Steven Tyler. It's like, no, we're just doing our thing.
And it's been a long time since they needed to earn a paycheck.
Yes.
So
I would certainly hope that's the case.
Where does this go is the question, right? Because
it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, what I don't know where it could go.
It's not gonna be like, because we know that Aerosmith can't tour as Aerosmith without opening a can of worms. But Steven Tyler and Joe Perry could just turn up Youngblood, and
well, I mean, we've seen Steve. I mean, Steve is going to turn up and do the odd one-off for as long as he can. But I mean, yeah, I don't think he can tour. It doesn't have to be. I don't think Steven's going on the road for a tour with anybody under any capacity, because you said there's a giant can of worms sitting there that no one wants to open.
I feel like the management people, there's somebody somewhere is going to be like, we can get money out of this.
Sure, they are.
And they're trying to figure it out right now. And somebody's going to be like, how do we unroll this ball of yarn that is the Aerosmith can't tour thing? And I'm like, make it happen. Just make it happen.
If it, I think it would take a whole lot to just get everybody on board. I mean, you can't be, they can go work with Youngblood and say Aerosmith and Youngblood, but you can't tour as Aerosmith without Brad and Tom. And so I think getting those guys back on the road for a proper Aerosmith tour would take an act of God. And again, I have no inside information. I just looking at it and knowing what I know and have read and seen for decades now. When that thing canceled the first year, you and I said when they canceled their tour, the idea of them taking this year off and putting all the pieces back together again, it's felt impossible. Humpty Dumpty does not get put back together, and that's what that farewell tour was a Humpty Dumpty. To get that farewell tour announced took a whole lot of effort just to even get everybody to agree and commit to a plan. Was a really a Herculean effort. And so once the plug got pulled, it was like, yeah, there's no way this is happening.
I still just can't help but wonder if somebody is, behind the scenes asking the other two guys, like, just let them say they're Aerosmith. We'll send you a check. We'll throw a couple guys behind the stage, and it'll just be
maybe
three of them out.
It could be if they're doing that. Even Aerosmith, who's been through so much and they've been dead and buried 55 times, that could certainly be an option. But I think Steven and Joe, despite the fact they seem like they want to do anything to maintain relevance, they don't want that. I mean, they fully understand. This is a band who, right before the pandemic, they had all sorts of problems with Joey Kramer. They were getting ready to celebrate 50 years, and Joey, couldn't play. I mean, the man literally had a physical thing that was keeping him from being able to play. He couldn't feel his foot. It's like he had a nerve issue.
Oh, he had that. It's like there was a injury that like mostly affects drummers, and it's super rare. But it's
well, there was like I can't remember exactly, but he had surgery somewhere, and there was an offshoot problem for a while. They were doing shows in Vegas, and then with a different drummer for months. And then they did that thing, the Music Cares thing. The Grammys were coming up. They got a lifetime Grammy. This is all like right before COVID, right as COVID was starting. And remember, he sued the band. Joey Kramer sued his bandmates to force him back into the band. So just all this is leading somewhere. So with that as the context, they were all like, I mean, that's how bad it had gotten. And Steven Tyler was still saying, he's in the band. We're not going to celebrate 50 years with a different drummer. What does that look? I mean, Steven was the guy who recognized, for better or worse, Aerosmith is these five guys.
Yeah.
This is all there is. That was happening at that time. So my point is, I don't think Steven and Joe would go out with Youngblood and call it Aerosmith with a bunch of other guys on the drum kit. I mean on the band. You might have Matt Sorum on the drums because Joey isn't in the band anymore.
Right.
But as far as Brad and Tom go, yeah. And I don't think, by the way, I don't think old school Aerosmith fans are too excited. I mean, they don't care about this. No, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I think to your point earlier, they've opened up enough of an audience.
Yeah,
that
maybe.
Aerosmith and Youngblood, I think they're still going to sell the tickets.
The difference between this and the Run DMC thing, though, is it's funny because at the time I thought Aerosmith were old men with Run DMC, but they were still young men. But now they are old men.
Yeah.
And how old is Youngblood?
Oh, God. He's like pushing 30, I think, 20 something.
Okay. So his audience is 45, 50 years younger than they are. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think a lot of Youngbloods fans are suddenly going to go, I want to go see a 79-year-old man sing.
I don't like it when you do math.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's not like the Youngblood audience is going to embrace Aerosmith the way that young kids who are really into hip hop would have in the 80s. It's now the gap is, back then the gap was genres. Now it's decades and decades, and that's That's just natural. It's not ageism. It's when I was 25, I didn't care what, the Andrews sisters were up to.
Although it did work for Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga.
Sure. Well, but they weren't trying to, they were singing. You know what though? That's very true, but it wasn't rock music. It was, it's not like they went out and played arena. They didn't do a huge tour. Everything they did was great. And that's a very different sort of, that different reasons for that working. And it was 100% on Tony Bennett's playing field. He wasn't doing Butterface. You know what I mean? It wasn't Tony Bennett gives you Lady Gaga. She stepped into jazz and crooner music. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
It's so much funnier the way you did it.
I could, I knew it was something, but I'm saying, this new thing is more like Youngblood sounding than Aerosmith sounding is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, but of course there's always a chance. Yeah.
On that note.
Yeah. All right.
It's already 10:30. I don't know how much time you got.
No, I got to roll. I got to get to sound check, or as we call it, rehearsal.